Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Double H Show. We're talking tons of NFL playoff football this weekend, and it's going to be a big day. First, let's start off with the New York Jets. More coming out about Mark Sanchez. Players coming out unnamed, calling him out, saying that he doesn't work hard enough and that he's lazy and he only cares about himself. Well, that's nothing new from the Jet locker room. Shocker there. I mean, now it just seems like guys are lining up to get their side of the story out. And, it's all a trickle-down effect from their leader, Rex Ryan. He comes out and says, guarantees all this stuff, we're going to win a Super Bowl and everything. And it just leads to these guys coming out against their players and calling each other out, which is starting to get a little ridiculous. It started out, with Greg McElroy coming out and saying guys in the locker room were being selfish and didn't care whether they won or lost. And now people are coming out about Mark Sanchez, which, is their quarterback and is the guy they look to when they're down. So it's bad for the Jets. And, I was thinking about the Peyton Manning thing and whether if he could come to New York and help them out. And at first I thought it'd be bad because it hurt Mark Sanchez morale. And, it's his third league. He's won about 10 games a year. And to have Peyton come in and just take his spot for 3 years and then shove Mark Sanchez back out there after he's gone would just be bad. But I think even if Peyton did somehow get to the Jets, he still wouldn't be able to rebuild this whole mess. I mean, maybe the guys would look up to him because he's a veteran. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But I just don't think he can handle all these egos and deal with it. They'd be a better team, obviously, with a more solid player at the quarterback position. But I don't think even Peyton Manning can help the Jets and what they're going through right now. Mark Sanchez has regressed. The first 2 years, we all gave him passes because he had led his team to the AFC Championship game. And, he was still a rookie and he was still in his second year. But now that the third year has come and he's regressed a little bit and he finished with an 8-8 record, who knows? Maybe Peyton could come in and teach him some stuff that could help Mark in the future and obviously help the New York Jets franchise. But enough of the Jets. I'm done talking about them for the rest of the year. Now we're talking about playoff football, AFC and NFC divisional rounds this weekend. Let's start off with the first game on Saturday, the Saints and 49ers. What an intriguing matchup. Saints just keep rolling, just putting up big points. Even though they have to come away from the Superdome for this game, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. The 49ers do have a really good defense, and it'll definitely give Drew Brees and that Saints offense a test. But I think the key for the 49ers is not only to stop the Saints and, don't let them get third down conversions. I think it also relies on Alex Smith. Can he keep up with Drew Brees? Can he make those throws? Can't turn the ball over, and he can't make mistakes, because if you make mistakes against the Saints, they're going to score on you every time. That's just the way they are, and that's why they're so good. So I think it's going to be a great game. I'm picking the Saints 27-17. I don't think they've been getting over 30 a lot in the past couple weeks, but I think the San Francisco D and that home field advantage will keep them under 30. But I do like the Saints to roll and end up in the NFC Championship game next week. As for the late game that night, it's Tim Tebow versus the Patriots. Broncos travel to Foxborough. Tim Tebow versus Brady. John Fox versus Bill Belichick. I think it's going to be the best game of the weekend. And after this game, I'm sure we're going to have even more Tebow talk than before. If he plays great and outstanding, just people are going to keep riding the bandwagon and calling him a great quarterback. And if he fails and if he has a really bad game, then the Denver Broncos go into the offseason with a lot of questions for that quarterback position. I do think with that win last week against Pittsburgh, he has the right to start next season. I think he's earned it. with that great run during the regular season, and of course the win over Pittsburgh. But if he has a really bad game and he reverts back to those tendencies that he had in Kansas City and against Buffalo, I think there's going to be a lot of questions, and John Elway is going to look at every option to give Tim Tebow some competition heading into next year. So we'll see what happens with that. I do like Tim Tebow against the New England Patriots defense, which is arguably the worst in the league. They've given up a lot of points and a lot of yards, and I think Tim Tebow did a great job against the Pittsburgh defense, which was one of the top in the NFL, even though they were missing some key guys. But I do think Tim Tebow is going to have a good game against the Patriots. And once again, just like Alex Smith can't, Tim Tebow cannot turn the ball over, because that Patriot offense and Tom Brady will come back and just score tons of points. But in Foxborough, with a week off, I'm taking Brady and Belichick at home, 27-13. Brady's been rolling, even though they had those early deficits against Miami and Buffalo. I think Brady and Belichick are going to come out strong, throwing the ball, putting up points early, and I think they're going to be able to hold that Denver offense, to not too many touchdowns. So I do like the Patriots to win and end up in the AFC Championship game, which they will have at home. On to Sunday at 1 Eastern, it's the Texans and Ravens. Very intriguing matchup. TJ Yates, rookie quarterback out of North Carolina, will start again for the Houston Texans. And Joe Flacco, 4-3 in the postseason, all on the road, finally gets that home game in Baltimore with that great run game and Ray Rice. And these two teams are very similar. Both have great run games. Ray Rice for the Ravens, and of course Arian Foster, who had a huge game last week against Cincinnati. So it's going to be very interesting to see who wins that run game battle and which defense can stop the other team's run game. I also think it comes down to TJ Yates keeping the ball in the Texans' possession, maybe running some clock with that run game. And if he has a good game and he doesn't turn the ball over, and maybe if he goes 11 for 20 like he did last week and doesn't turn the ball over, I think the Texans can win this game. And especially if the Texans' D-line keeps up the way they're playing with J.J. Watt, Antonio Smith. I think if they have big games again, who knows, the Texans might win. But I do like the Ravens at home. I like them to win in a close game, 20-14. I think it might come down to the last possession, but I do like Joe Flacco and the Ravens at home, where they're pretty tough to beat. And I think it's going to be a Patriots-Ravens AFC Championship game matchup next week. And finally, last game of the weekend, Packers and Giants rematch of the 2007 NFC Championship game, where the Giants obviously won that and went on to win the Super Bowl. It's a funny thing. When the Giants won that Super Bowl in 2007, they had lost to the Patriots last game of the season, 38-35, and coincidentally, they played the Packers this season. Packers didn't go undefeated, but the Packers did beat them 38-35 in the Meadowlands. So who knows? I think the Giants D-line is playing tremendous. I think the whole team is just on fire right now. They're the hottest team in the NFL. I think they're hotter than the Saints. Eli Manning's having his best season of his career, and everyone is super confident. No one's overconfident or cocky. They're just a great ball club, and they all believe in themselves. So I think even though the Packers had a great season, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the MVP, and in my opinion should be. I'm taking the Giants 17-14. They beat the Patriots 17-14 in the 2007 Super Bowl. I'm picking them to beat the Packers in Lambeau Field in the cold 17-14. And I think if the Giants can hit Aaron Rodgers early, especially in the cold, I think that's going to be huge. If the Giants can get out to an early lead and just have that defense play the way they have been playing, I think it's back to the NFC Championship game for the Giants. And I think they're going to be... it'll be a great one if it's Giants, Saints in the Superdome. Those are my predictions and keys to the games for this weekend's NFL playoff divisional round. It's going to be great. Everybody tune in. Tebow versus Brady, Yates versus Flacco, Rodgers versus Manning, and Brees versus Alex Smith. Should be a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. I'm Harry Hoffman. This is Double H Radio.